What's going on, guys? Welcome to today's new episode. We have UFC Fight Night Mexico, Erceg versus Moreno, and we're going to have our picks. We did a little study session last night on live stream looking at the highlights, and hopefully we do better this week than we did last week in London, but we have some bangers, and I wanted to talk about some of the fighters, up-and-coming talent that we have in the UFC, and we're going to have our predictions, so let's go. Man, this is going to be tough just because in Mexico City the elevation is super high. So we're going to play a video real quick actually of them breaking down the elevation and kind of the advantages for the fighters who train at high elevation. So
UFC Mexico this week, so do not skip this video. This weekend's card is in Mexico City, which has the highest altitude of any venue the UFC goes to, and the higher the elevation, the faster or harder these fighters are going to gas out. The following matchups are ones that feature a fighter who trains and is going to be used to elevation versus one who doesn't. Starting with Drew Dober versus Manuel Torres. Drew Dober trains in Denver, Colorado that has an elevation of 5,200 feet compared to Manuel Torres, who trains in Tijuana, Mexico that is only 65 feet above sea level. Next is Simon Oliveira versus David Martinez. David Martinez trains in Mexico in a place that is 7,400 feet above sea level, compared to Simon Oliveira, who trains in Brazil right at sea level, which is going to be a big difference. Next up is Jose Medina taking on UFC newcomer Atiba Gautier. Medina trains in Bolivia at 1,300 feet above sea level, where Gautier trains in Cameroon, which is right at sea level. Then we get Christian Rodriguez versus Melt Costa, where Rodriguez trains in Milwaukee, which is only 600 feet above sea level, compared to Melt Costa in Sao Paulo, Brazil, which is 2,500 feet above sea level. One of the biggest differences on the card is Lupi Godinez, who trains in Guadalajara, Mexico, versus Julia Pilastri, who's in Rio de Janeiro. Guadalajara is 5,100 feet above sea level, and Rio de Janeiro is right there at sea level. And maybe the last one, which might make a little bit of difference, Jamal Emmers versus Gabriel Miranda, where Emmers trains at 1,300 feet above sea level compared to Miranda, who trains right at sea level.
And no one cares more about elevation and the difference it's going to make in a fight unless you got some money on the fight, man. If you're really trying to hit a parlay, everybody is going to see all the finest details, man. So first fight, we have Marquel Mederos, up-and-comer. We're peeping some of his highlights. He has a lot of confidence going into the cage. He's on a 7-fight win streak. He had a knockout where he hit a little Salt Bay celebration on top of him. This guy, he's a little bit of a showman. Austin Hubbard, 17 wins, 8 losses, 5 wins by knockout. He does have a lot of experience in the UFC, but I do believe this is going to be a tough fight. 3 rounds, lightweight division. I have Marquel Mederos just because of that 7-fight win streak. It's hard to win at anything 7 times, let alone in a cage fight. So if Marquel could do it 7 times in a row, I think one more wouldn't be impossible, to say the least. So next fight, Jamal Emmers versus Gabriel Miranda. We saw that Emmers has a slight advantage when it comes to elevation. We're looking at it, kind of his highlights and a little bit of his backstory. Here in 2021, this fight, he got heel hooked. He had like a toe hold and he ended up injuring his knee right in that fight. We noticed that, and this is where we could see a gap in his resume from 2021 to 2023. He's had a few losses here and there, coming off a loss. Miranda is a submission specialist, though, man. Look, 16 wins by submission, 15 in the first round. Nickname is Fly. And look at that mustache, bro. Got that little Pringles mustache going. He's had some tough fights. Look at the opponents he's faced. Benoit Saint Denis and Charriere. I got Miranda on this, even though he's an underdog. I just feel like a submission is cooking up on the parlay, to say the least. So next fight up, we have Rafa Garcia versus Vince Pichel. We actually looked at a post-fight speech against Clay Guida. He gave his respects to Clay, legend of the sport. So this guy has a lot of respect for the fighters out there. Now this guy, his nickname's From Hell, so maybe we won't get a heartfelt message afterwards. Maybe not. Maybe we will. But I got Rafa on this fight, man. I just feel like, based on the odds here, heavy favorite. If the fight goes to the ground, it looks like it's going to go his way. But this guy, Pichel, has definitely has knockout power based on the clips that we saw last night. Next fight, Lupi Godinez versus Julia Pilastri. Lupi is the one that has the biggest advantage when it comes to training at elevation, and I think that's going to play a huge role. Lupi's coming off a loss against Mackenzie Dern. Julia still a very respectable opponent, 13 wins, 4 losses, 3 wins by submission. Coming off a win, I do think that training at the high altitude is going to make the difference here. I'm calling a Lupi win via TKO. She's ranked 11th. We might see her go up a few after this fight. We'll see. Now, Christian Rodriguez versus Melquisael Costa. Christian Rodriguez is actually the only guy to beat Raul Rosas. He beat him via decision, I believe, in 2020. We'll check out the stats. He was the only one to beat Rosas in 2023. So he's no easy opponent. 12 wins, 2 losses, 4 wins by submission, 3 by knockout, 5 first-round finishes. But Melquisael Costa, he just submitted Andre Fili in UFC Fight Night Seattle, bro. Literally just beat him. It's not on here on the UFC website for some reason. Not sure why they don't put it up. It was literally, he fought last month. So we'll see. He didn't take any damage pretty much that fight. So he was pretty much ready to go. I got Melquisael via submission for this fight. He is also the underdog, but I feel like taking the underdogs, bro. A fight's a fight. You never really know who's gonna be victorious, but I do think Melquisael Costa is a dangerous dude. Speaking of dangerous dudes, we have Atabe Gutierrez, 22 years old, 6-1. He's on a 5-fight win streak, was on the Dana White Contender Series, and he's coming out of Cameroon. Freaking savage. Jose Daniel Medina, 11 wins, 8 wins by knockout, 2 by submission, 6 in the first round. Seems like he has 1 fight in the UFC based on the stats. It's going to be a tough one, bro. I got Ateba via knockout just because he has a lot of cardio, and I do think like I said earlier, this elevation thing is going to play a huge role, and these guys are going to gas out soon. So I got Gutierrez winning this fight here. Next fight, we have Edgar Chairez versus CJ Vergara. Now this one is super interesting to watch just because CJ is on a 2-fight losing streak. Reporter asked Edgar if he thinks that CJ is going to come after him just because he's potentially at risk of losing his job, and Edgar didn't even care. He's like, bro, I'm just trying to win too. I don't care if he's losing his job or not. Edgar has a very inspiring story. We saw last night that this guy was just a fan. His friend invited him to go watch the UFC event, and he put in the work. He started training, and he got to the UFC. He had a tough match against Joshua Van, and he lost via decision. But if we see some of his fights, man, he fought against Taira too. He's fighting the best of the best already. So he has 4 wins by knockout, 7 by submission, and this guy is a dangerous dude. So I got Edgar winning this fight, but I do think that potentially losing your job is going to play a factor in this. So it might not be an easy one, but I got Edgar for that one. Now, right to the main event, we have Ronaldo Rodriguez versus Kevin Borjas. This is probably the fight to watch, bro. I'm not even capping. If you guys seen that fight with Ronaldo Rodriguez and Ode Osborne in the Sphere, it was inspiring, bro. It was like a movie. It was like a movie script fight, bro. Ronaldo Rodriguez walks into the Sphere doing his little dance, has the whole Mexican crowd behind him. He's in the Sphere, he's in Las Vegas. This huge moment in time. First round, he misses like a calf kick. Ode Osborne hits him with a clean right hand, puts Ronaldo right to the canvas. You could tell like he's shocked. He didn't know where he was at. Ode mounts him and then puts him in a triangle. And he was in a triangle that was cinched up, like legit as tight as you could get. And I don't know if you guys have ever been in a triangle before, but it sucks, dude. Each second feels like an eternity. So I can't even imagine what it was like to be in that situation, in a Sphere, having people yell at you, to get out of a triangle where people think it's over. He's able to escape and to win the fight at the end via decision. It was inspiring, bro. Now, Kevin Borjas wants exactly what Ronaldo has, and this hype and this attention. Both of them have similar stories coming up from a struggling upbringing, and then they're fighting for their future here. So, I mean, every fighter is fighting for the future, but this is the fight to watch. So this is going to be a great one to watch. Ronaldo, 17 wins, 2 losses, 7 wins by knockout. With Borjas, we're going to check out his stats here. 9 wins, 3 losses, 8 wins by knockout, 5 in the first round. He's 27 years old. Ronaldo Rodriguez, I believe he's 25. Could be wrong. Could be 26 now. Yep, 25. Coming out of Chiapas, Mexico. So this is going to be a banger, bro. Going to be a freaking banger. I got Ronaldo. Next fight, David Martinez versus Simon Oliveira. David Martinez, if you guys could check out his highlights, I don't want to get this video taken down, but this guy is a savage, bro, throwing wheel kicks, knocking people out cold, and this guy has no remorse, bro. If it's a TKO, you got to have the ref pry this dude off of you just to make sure this dude survives, bro. Simon Oliveira, I believe he has 11 wins by submission, 5 by knockout, 10 in the first round. This is not an easy fight, but Martinez definitely has the hype, but he's making his UFC debut. Making your debut in Mexico is going to be one sight to see, to say the least. Now we have 4 fights remaining. Raul Chiwiwis Rosas, man, he's 20 years old, only 1 loss, 2 wins by knockout, 6 wins by submission. I feel like this is probably the highest he's been up there on like a fight card. I know it's a fight night card, but he was on the Sphere card, but he was the very first fight on that. We've seen some Chiwiwis memes online, but I do think that there's a lot of potential for Raul Rosas just because how young he is. Now, Vince Morales, not an easy task. 16 wins, 9 losses. He had this crazy submission, bro. We'll react to it. We'll react to a reaction real quick. Just look at this. Kind of like a Darce setup with the left hand. Look at the shit on the neck, though. That looks effective to me. Yeah, I don't know what that is. But he's coming off a loss, 2 losses, 3 losses. Okay. So this guy has tons of experience in the UFC. I would say this is probably the best opponent Chiwiwis has had, but he is coming off of 3 losses in a row, which I did not know. That does play a factor. So maybe Raul Rosas could get a win via submission in the first round. I'm calling that. So Kelvin Gastelum versus Joe Pyfer. They're disrespecting Kelvin with these odds here. I got Kelvin with a win. I just feel like he has a lot more experience in the cage, and we'll definitely see. But I got Kelvin Gastelum against this Joe Pyfer middleweight bout. Right before the main event, Manuel Torres versus Drew Dober. Drew Dober is the favorite. He had some tough fights against Moicano and Gene Silva. And I feel like a lot of people are saying that Drew Dober is going to get the win here. I just think Manuel Torres, he's dangerous, bro. He has these like vicious elbows that he likes throwing. 7 wins by knockout, 7 by submission. I'm thinking this fight's going to end quick. I don't think this fight is going to be 3 rounds or going to the decision, honestly, especially with the elevation. I'm calling Manuel Torres with a dub in the first round. Now, for the main event, Brandon Moreno versus Steve Erceg. Moreno's looking like he's coming back to his OG self, bro. I'm not going to lie. His last fight against Albazi was a great performance. It went to decision, but it was like a dominant performance by Moreno, to say the least. But Steve Erceg, I know he looks like he's like a character from The Office, but dude, this guy could throw down as well. He has knockout power. He's knocked people out before. He gave Pantoja a run for his money. This is not an easy fight for Moreno. Both of them are black belts as well, jiu-jitsu black belts. So this is going to be a dogfight, but I have Moreno winning this in a dominant fashion, bro. I feel like Moreno, he's had that experience. He knows what the championship, he knows what it tastes like when it comes to chasing after that championship title, and knows what it is to be champion. And I feel like he still can do it at the young age that he is. I know Moreno's been around for a long time, but he's only 31 years old, bro. He's only 31 years old. I know these guys in the UFC, they age quick, but we got some young talent up in here. So I got Moreno via TKO. That's what we got here, man. That's what we got. Hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. Leave your picks down below. The fights that I'm really excited to see the most are this early prelim, Edgar Chairez versus CJ Vergara, Ronaldo Rodriguez and Kevin Borjas, David Martinez, Simon Oliveira. Honestly, most of these fights I'm ready to see, bro. But honestly, from the early prelims, if I were to pick one to watch, it would be this one right here. So this is the one I really want to see. So leave your predictions down below. Hope you guys enjoyed today's episode, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. We out. Peace.